Hi, I'm Jamie from BJ Yoga, and today we're going to get into the complete yogic breath, which is a three-part diaphragmatic breath. This is the breath that you'll carry with you throughout all of your practice. It is the breath that is the most useful, most versatile, and the breath that will bring you probably the most results in terms of yoga and in terms of daily living. So when we get started with our long, deep breathing, we want to make sure that we're seated comfortably and upright. You'll notice I'm seated in what's called easy seat, so I'm resting on the sits bone with a level pelvis and a long spine. You can do this seated on your knees in what's called a hero position. You can do it in a chair, you can do it on your back, you can do it almost anywhere. But we do want to make sure that the chest is lifted and the abdomen is nice and long. So when we start moving into yogic breathing, the first thing that we want to observe is the rhythm of our natural breath. Just taking a few natural inhales and exhales and sensing about how long it takes us to inhale and exhale. Just for reference, the average person at rest will breathe between 12 and 15 times a minute. The average yogi during a yoga practice will breathe on average of 4 times per minute. Just so that gives you an idea of how much slower we need to breathe when we're moving into our three-part breathing. So let's just take a few slow inhales and exhales. Starting to feel where the breath goes in the body. Noticing if you're breathing into your chest or your ribs or low down into your belly. I'm going to start to take a little bit longer to inhale and a little bit longer to exhale. And as you're slowing your breath down, just observing if the breath is perhaps changing places in the body. And you can really close your eyes here and kind of settle into that sensation of just breathing. Feeling the breath coming in through the tip of the nose and traveling down into the lungs. Taking your time, feeling everything kind of quiet down and settle down as we just start to focus on our breathing. And then we want to redirect our breath. So we're going to start to source the breath from the navel center. So that's the belly button. And most new students, when we say source the breath from the navel center, will let the belly fill up big and round. And that's an okay way to get started, is that we just go ahead and we go, making the breath nice and big in the tummy. And then when we exhale, we pull it back. You don't have to make your belly big, but you do have to draw the breath down, just breathing down into the belly button, and that lets the diaphragm pull all the way down. So let's take a few practice breaths, just breathing down into the abdomen. Try and isolate it. Good. And then when we move on, we want to think of layering the breath in the body, or building the breath in the body. So we don't just breathe down into the belly and then move that same air up into the lungs and then up into the chest. You want to continue to add air in the body. So you breathe into the belly and the ribs and the chest. So I've already activated our navel center. We'll breathe all the way down into the belly. And then we're going to take it into the rib cage. So you want to feel the ribs expand out to the sides. I'm just watching into the belly and the ribs. So you're going to notice that the ribs will go out to the sides quite naturally. But we also want to breathe into the front and into the back of the ribs because the body is round. So we're breathing in the round. So let's inhale, draw the breath down into the abdomen, and then let the rib cage expand to all 4 corners. And just letting the exhale always be slow and controlled. Don't huff out your exhales. And then as we continue to layer the breath in the body, we're going to take the breath up into the chest and into what's called the eyes of the shoulders, which are these little dimples under the collarbone. So we breathe down into the navel, into the ribs, and then you want to feel your chest lift up and separate a little bit out to the sides as the breath comes up into the collarbone. So let's practice. close the eyes, feel all of that breath coming in. Letting the exhale be slow and controlled. Good. Taking your time. Inhale. And exhale. You should start to notice that the mind is becoming a little calmer and the body is feeling a little more at ease because we're bringing all of that fresh oxygen into the body, which kind of clears everything out. So let's turn our attention into the exhales now, just to be certain. As a general rule, we tend to leave about 20% of our inhale in the lungs. We don't get it all out. So when you inhale, you need to exhale completely, just kind of letting the inhale flow right into the exhale. The breath leaves the chest, leaves the ribs, and then the belly button pulls back. So the breath sources from the navel center, but also terminates at the navel center. So you want to breathe almost in a loop from the belly button to the belly button. So let's try that one more time. Make sure you get all the air out. When you think you've finished exhaling, try and exhale a little bit more, pulling the belly button back. Begin. Start to hear the breath a little bit in your ears now. Just one more before we wrap up. Big, strong, slow inhale through the belly button, the belly, the rib cage, the chest, the collarbone. And then that nice smooth exhale from the collar, the chest, the ribs, the belly, and the belly button. Okay, that's the three-part breath. That's the breath that you'll use throughout your whole yoga practice. I hope this has been helpful for you, and namaste.